My fiancé fell for the underprivileged student I was sponsoring. To prove that her feelings were real, she ignored her family's objections and came straight to my home to call off our engagement. My father's rage was volcanic. My mother nearly fainted from shock. By the next morning, I had become the punchline of every whisper in our social circle. But no one outside our family knew that. That same night, we held a meeting behind closed doors. The mood was calm, almost surgical. My father stirred his tea before speaking. Let time work in your favor. Go abroad for a while. Let her feel your absence. Call it a tactical retreat. My mother remained serene. Rebuild yourself. Right now, he looks like the poor, heartbroken hero. You should become the one who slipped away, the one he'll never surpass. I smiled faintly. Then I suppose I should start by playing the depressed ex. When I came back years later, my friends threw a party to welcome me home. The private dining room was loud with laughter and clinking glasses until the door opened. Silence fell instantly. Amelia walked in with her new boyfriend, Ethan. I turned toward them and met her eyes. Hers lingered on me a second too long, while Ethan's posture grew rigid beside her. The others exchanged uneasy glances, unsure how to react. I gestured casually toward the table. You're here, join us. Acted as though nothing awkward had ever happened between us. Amelia hesitated, then gave a quiet nod. Ethan sat stiffly beside her, his strained smile doing little to hide his discomfort. Everyone could feel the tension. After all, I had pulled Ethan out of poverty, paid for his schooling, and in return, he'd stolen my fiancé. No one in the room respected a man like that. While I'd been overseas, my family's company had flourished, even surpassing the Suttons, Amelia's powerful family. The opportunists at the table sensed the shift and collectively turned cold toward Ethan. They ignored him completely, treating him as though he were invisible. He looked to Amelia for help, but she stayed quiet, her expression unreadable. Even in the dim light, I could see the nervous pallor on his face. I decided to ease the tension, or rather, to savor it first. You two are late, I said lightly. 3 shots each, no excuses. It's tradition. There was a beat of surprise, then laughter followed. Yeah. Liam's finally back. Don't ruin the fun. Without a word, Amelia took her shots, one after another, and turned the glass upside down. Not a drop left. When our eyes met, it felt like an unspoken apology for the past. I smiled slightly, then turned to Ethan. He lifted his glass with shaky hands. When I reached to clink it, he flinched, the glass slipping and shattering on the floor. That broke whatever patience the others had left. Seriously, Amelia, what's wrong with your boyfriend? Someone snapped. Liam's the one who got betrayed, and he's being more gracious than this. Amelia's expression hardened. It was an accident. Drop it. Ethan mumbled a sorry, face pale, shoulders hunched as though he were the victim. One of my friends was about to lash out, but I stopped him with a calm smile. It's fine. What's done is done. Let's not dig up the past. I looked at Amelia and Ethan, then down my drink, signaling forgiveness. Amelia's shoulders eased, and for the first time that night, she smiled faintly. The room's tension lifted, replaced by forced laughter and polite chatter. No one noticed how, deep down, I was enjoying every second of their discomfort. Later, I stepped out onto the balcony to catch some fresh air. Behind me, Amelia's voice broke the quiet, slightly husky from the night's drinks. How have you been these past 3 years? The breeze tousled my hair, making the moment feel almost cinematic, like a reunion that had been waiting for its scene. I turned, meeting a flash of surprise, and something more complicated in her eyes. You drank quite a bit. Your stomach holding up? I asked, deliberately sidestepping her question to check on her instead. Her hand instinctively touched her abdomen, a brief hint of vulnerability crossing her features. She'd always had a delicate stomach, and her eating habits were meticulous. I had spent years learning her preferences, crafting meal plans, carrying her meds and healthy snacks wherever we went. And yet, she had left me for a boy who would take her to street food stalls without a second thought. Her gaze became unreadable. You don't hate me? I shook my head. It's all behind us. Nothing was ever irreparably broken. Besides, as they say, even if the deal falls through, the goodwill remains. She let out a soft laugh, tension easing between us. You've grown magnanimous, she teased. I returned the smile. We simply were meant to be. That doesn't stop us from being friends, does it? The truth was, Our family's relationship had turned icy after the breakup. The last 3 years had been a quiet war of business sabotage and social rivalry. But now, everyone knew just how formidable my family had become. The word on the street was clear: stay on Liam's good side, or pay the price. I suspected Amelia's presence at my party was her family's attempt at reconciliation. The Sutton empire was mighty, but showing cracks. They didn't need another adversary. Seeing my words as a truce, Amelia relaxed. She joined me at the railing, and we stood side by side, one facing the city, the other watching the party. We talked about the past 3 years, our lives, and the changes that had shaped us. Being equals again felt surprisingly natural. From the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of a white shirt slipping around a corner. A slow, satisfied smile spread across my face. I knew the next few months were going to be interesting. After that evening, Amelia began reaching out more often. She asked for the old nutrition plan, and I gave her every detail, reminding her to take care of herself. She pretended to be annoyed, but the warmth in her tone betrayed her. I didn't rush back into the family business. Instead, I revisited old places and friends, posting snapshots of memories from our youth. Many of those moments, naturally, involved her. I suspected she followed my posts closely. First to like, first to comment. The principal really did go bald, huh? Is that the same orange cat we used to feed? Still around? I remembered the red ribbon we tied on that old tree, making a wish together. She never shared hers. I responded to the harmless comments and ignored the provocative ones. One night, a new pop star went on a live stream trashing classic songs, calling one of my favorites creepy. I posted the song on my feed. Minutes later, Amelia called, her voice tight with frustration. She wasn't usually a fangirl, but this singer mattered to her. I listened, calm, soothing her irritation, agreeing when needed. We talked for over an hour, until Ethan's voice drifted in the background. Amelia, are you still talking? Her tone sharpened. What are you doing here? Ethan accused, his voice rising. You're on the phone with him again, aren't you? I hung up. Their dispute wasn't my concern. A few minutes later, she called back, exhausted. Sorry, Liam, you got dragged into that. It's fine, I said. I know Ethan. He's sensitive. Just reassure him when you can. Our past is complicated. It's natural he's wary. Maybe we should keep some distance. A pause. Then her impatience broke through. Haven't I reassured him enough? He's never satisfied. Even abroad, I had kept a keen eye on matters back home. After the engagement ended, Amelia staged a hunger strike to pressure her family. Ethan knelt outside the Sutton mansion, begging to see her. Their rebellion and resilience became a public fairy tale, admired and whispered about in high society circles. But real life soon intruded. The Suttons' empire was vast, but Amelia's choices had consequences. Ethan, fresh from college, had ambitions crushed to fit into the expectations of a dutiful husband. A career? Out of the question. Social appearances? He couldn't embarrass the family by being anything but perfect. And yet, he clung to her, his possessiveness growing, once charming but now stifling. I sighed and turned to Nicole, the student I sponsored, now my assistant. Do you understand his choices? Nicole's expression was calm, but disgust flickered in her eyes. Not at all. He had a future and traded it for an empty promise. I asked, have Ethan and his family been distant lately? Nicole nodded. Then I'll handle it. After that call, the fragile friendship Amelia and I had rebuilt began to unravel. I started ignoring her messages and calls, deliberately skipping the gatherings she invited me to. The sudden distance sent Amelia into a panic. She turned to Nicole, hoping to arrange a meeting with me. Nicole raised an eyebrow, feigning concern. Haven't you heard? Rumors about Liam have been circulating online. They're saying his depression relapsed. His mother even had him admitted to a private clinic. Amelia froze, her voice dry and incredulous. Depression? Nicole gave a faint shrug, pretending to be uneasy. I shouldn't be talking about it. Desperate, Amelia pleaded with Nicole to take her to my family's home. She hadn't been there since the engagement ended, and my parents were notoriously unwelcoming. During the drive, Nicole watched her in the rearview mirror, noting the tightening of her jaw as she scrolled through a gossip account. The post twisted reality, painting me as a homewrecker clinging to Amelia under the guise of friendship. A photo from my welcome home party, angled to look intimate, accompanied it. The internet erupted. I was labeled a desperate green tea man, mocked and shamed. Many friends defended me, aware of the truth, asking if I wanted retaliation. I just smiled. No need. Truth will surface on its own. The optics were perfect. My fiancé stolen. Now I was slandered. Yet I remained calm, almost saintly. The more the gossip spread, the better it worked for me and my family. I even fed the fire quietly. The next step was clear. When Amelia arrived at my house, my mother met her at the door, icy and furious. My son always has bad luck when you're around. Leave. Amelia apologized, eyes red, begging to see me. And Evelyn, did Liam's depression start because of me? Please, just let me see him. My mother hesitated, then sighed with mock resignation.
Fine.
Children are a burden. Go. She handed Amelia the clinic's address. Nicole followed her with a subtle nod. On the way, Nicole painted a vivid picture of my supposed depression abroad, like a puppet without a soul, with several failed attempts at ending my life. Amelia's reflection in the car window showed red-rimmed eyes. When she arrived, I sat on the edge of my bed in a blue and white striped patient gown, staring at birds outside the window. Sunlight haloed me, creating an ethereal, broken beauty. Her hands clenched at her sides. Liam, she whispered. I flinched, caught between surprise and panic. What are you doing here? Her face softened. Why didn't you tell me you were unwell? I laughed lightly. It's nothing. My mom's overreacting. Her gaze fell. Is your depression because of me? I waved it off. I'm bored. They took my phone and have Nicole watching me like a hawk. Will you take me out? Just for a little while. The pleading look in my eyes froze her. She blinked, caught between old memories and current tension. I waved my hand.
Well?
Yes or no? She coughed, blushing, her old shyness resurfacing. Liam, you need rest, she said softly. I pouted, turning away. She laughed, genuine and warm, and distracted Nicole so I could slip out. To avoid being followed, Amelia drove me to a hidden street food market tucked in a maze of alleyways. My eyes lit up. Amelia, this is amazing. How did you find it? She glanced away. I stumbled upon it once. I didn't press. This was where she and Ethan had fallen in love, where their sweet memories lingered. So, their bond wasn't unbreakable. Every bite was a revelation. Golden fried potatoes, stinky tofu, candied hawthorn skewers that puckered my lips. Amelia laughed, relaxed for the first time in months. You used to hate this stuff. Don't get a stomach ache, she warned. I rolled my eyes. I never hated it. Then, with a grin, I admitted, I was pretending, just for you. Amelia froze. I sat on a bench by the river, letting the confessions spill out. All those summers the first set I was at camp, I was with my parents, helping in the mountains, learning the value of life. They came from nothing, and wanted me to appreciate what we had. I made friends, climbed trees, caught fish. I was a little terror. And I loved cheap snacks, spicy chips, bubblegum with tattoos. I added mischievous. Amelia's eyes softened, tender and curious. Why hide this from me? I looked away, embarrassed. You were the Sutton princess. I didn't want you thinking I was uncultured. Pride, you know? Plus, I added, with your stomach issues, I had to set an example. Her laughter caught, fading into silence. The storm of emotions in her eyes spoke louder than words. I exhaled, relieved. But we're friends now. I can finally tell you everything I was too afraid to say before. The setting sun turned the river into molten gold. I stood, smiling. Time to head back. The ride back was silent. The quiet of the dark car should have been comforting, but for someone with a restless mind, it was the opposite. I glanced out the window, using the reflection to study Amelia. Her brow was furrowed, her posture tense. I waited, patient. Finally, she spoke, choosing her words carefully. That time when you saved me. She trailed off, unsure how to continue. I already knew what she meant. It had been in middle school. Amelia had been punished for getting into a fight and sent to her ancestral home for the summer. The Sutton's strict rules required misbehaving children to kneel in the family shrine for reflection. I happened to be nearby with my parents on a charity project. A torrential downpour caused a landslide that buried the shrine. I had been wandering nearby, hoping to accidentally run into her, when I saw the disaster. I called for help and joined her family in digging her out with our bare hands. When we finally pulled her free, her eyes fluttered open and met mine. Thank God, Amelia. You're okay. That was when she truly accepted me. From that moment, The Suttons stopped obstructing my father's business, and our engagement was arranged. My family's company eventually became a rival to theirs, and everyone assumed our union was inevitable. Then Ethan appeared. Finding them together, so blatantly intimate, felt like a betrayal. "He's using you, Amelia?" I had exclaimed. She had stared at me, expression cold. "And you weren't using me when you saved me?" Ethan had lowered his eyes, allowing her to walk away with him. Some truths only resonate when spoken by someone close. Shortly after, Amelia ended our engagement, determined to be with him. That accusation haunted her ever since. Now it was time to confront it. I turned to her, eyes carrying carefully crafted sadness. "Of course I was trying to get close to you." Her hands clenched the steering wheel, knuckles white. "Because I was in love with you." She slammed on the brakes. When she looked at me, my eyes were rimmed with red. "I knew the girl you fought was a bully. You've always had a sense of justice. That's why I fell for you. When I found you in the mountains that summer, I thought fate was on my side." I swallowed a sob and forced a smile. Tears welled in her eyes as she pressed her forehead against my hand. "I'm sorry, Liam. I didn't know." A warm tear landed on my skin. I gently withdrew my hand and met her stunned gaze. "It's rare to find someone you truly love. Cherish it. Ethan cares for you. Don't blame him. Or yourself," she said softly, a mixture of guilt and admiration in her eyes. I laughed quietly. Whatever the reason, today was enlightening. Consider it his way of making amends. Her gaze softened. Words weren't needed. I glanced in the rearview mirror, noting the car that had been tailing us, and smiled. When the memories you treasure become tainted, when sincerity is questioned, and the one who got away returns flawless, what can a man do? After I was discharged, I officially joined the family business as vice president. The 3 years abroad weren't leisure. They were spent reviving our overseas branch, rescuing failing subsidiaries, and managing highly profitable projects. The numbers improved every year, earning the respect of the company's old guard. My father claimed I still needed experience, yet he had already bought himself new fishing gear for his pending retirement. Meanwhile, Nicole kept me updated on Amelia and Ethan. Their supposedly unbreakable bond was fraying. Arguments were frequent. Ethan had stopped attending social events, and Amelia had returned to the Sutton mansion. Ethan's parents had appeared unannounced, demanding dowries and gifts for their other children, humiliating Amelia and Ethan in the process. My mother reported with glee that Mrs. Sutton couldn't face her social circles, while Mr. Sutton nearly disowned Ethan, calling him worthless. Amelia's usual defense of him was gone. Her face was cold, indifferent. My father fiddled with his prayer beads. The Sutton household is in chaos. What a mess. My mother sipped her tea, smiling. Ethan may never recover from this. Tragic, really. I rolled my eyes. Could you at least try to hide your glee? We shared knowing smiles. I remembered the strategy my parents had laid out when I returned. 1. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. 3 years of distance would let memories fade and create longing. Shared history, inside jokes, and familiar gestures would tug at her subconsciously, no matter how in love she was with Ethan. 2. Offer her what he cannot. Street food is novelty. Fine dining is comfort. Give her both, and she'll see what she truly needs. 3. Play hard to get. She needed to feel urgency, to be forced to make a choice. The plan was in motion, and everything was falling perfectly into place. When Amelia finally reached me, I had just survived a disastrously awkward blind date. I sank into a chair at the cafe, exhausted. My parents are out of their minds. They're trying to marry me off before the year ends. Her smile was hesitant. Why the rush? They're retiring soon. Grandchildren are apparently non-negotiable. A sly idea struck me, and I leaned closer. Hey, do you happen to know? Her hands clenched, her lips parting in anticipation. Any single friends? Nice people. Attractive, well-mannered? You could introduce me. Her hopeful expression faltered, replaced with a scowl. That's what you wanted to ask me? She said through gritted teeth. I shrugged, feigning desperation. I'm doomed. Blind dates are a waste, and I haven't clicked with anyone. She visibly relaxed, though a blush crept up her ears as she looked away. I grinned knowingly. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. Is that Ethan? I teased. The warmth drained from her face. She ignored the call. Just spam, she muttered. I smiled faintly. A spam call that keeps calling back? You know it's not really his fault misunderstandings happen. Her expression darkened as she remembered the past. You were never at fault. We gave him a life he couldn't have dreamed of, yet he carried that pride like a shield. Amelia, he can't blame you. I recalled the moment that had sparked it all, a high school math test. I had tried to help Ethan and Nicole, only to have him storm off, misreading my intentions. That small misunderstanding had shaped years of resentment. Nicole texted me, "Ethan has left." A thin smile spread across my face. To break a man, first drive him to the edge. A few days later, news broke. Amelia was expecting, and the Suttons were hastily planning an engagement party. The sudden shift came when Ethan's family finally relented, offering apologies and promises of good behavior. The Suttons, eager to close the chapter, reluctantly agreed. Isolated, Ethan had clung to the only support he could find, seeking comfort in the familiar. My father was feeding the koi in our pond, so he just forgave the family that tried to pawn him off. Not only that, my mother replied, scoffing, but he's playing the perfect son in a happy family tableau. Distance does make the heart grow fonder. I ignored Amelia's subsequent call, smiling to myself. Soon came my birthday, my first major public appearance since joining the company. The party was grand, full of networking, champagne, and polite conversation. Amelia and Ethan arrived, arm in arm, a picture-perfect couple. I raised my glass in their direction and mingled with guests. I felt her eyes on me. She approached, and Ethan, flustered, collided with a waiter, shattering a tray of glasses. Wine soaked his suit. Guests whispered, judging. Ethan stood frozen, mortified. Amelia's face was a mixture of guilt and subtle admiration. I intervened gracefully, escorting him to change, drawing quiet admiration from onlookers. In the changing room, Ethan confronted me. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" I feigned ignorance. "That smug act. Don't think I don't know you planned this. You were born with a silver spoon. What else can you do but show off? Aren't you ashamed?" I sighed. "Struggling doesn't make you right. My parents built everything from nothing. I'm proud to inherit their legacy. Why should I be ashamed?" He shouted. "And I gave up everything for a woman. Was that wrong? Does your charity make me a puppet?" I laughed. "I sponsored your schooling, spent time tutoring you, and you call it control? You never asked me if I wanted it. Then why did you accept?" I countered. His rage was palpable. "You used my reliance on you to keep me from Amelia. That's control." I smiled faintly. "When Amelia shows kindness, it's salvation. When I do, it's condescending charity." His face faltered. "Is it because she has and I don't?" I shook my head, expression softening. "So, that's what you think of me." I collapsed, an act of exhaustion and despair. Ethan froze, panic written across his face. The door burst open. "Liam!" Amelia cried. "He's panicking, depression's back," Nicole warned. Amelia knelt beside me, voice sharp. "What did you say to him?" "I didn't do anything," I protested. "Stealing fiancés, revenge, charity, heard it all," Nicole added. "You can't trust her." Ethan shrieked. The room fell silent as accusations flew. My father barked, "Amelia, what is the meaning of this? Are you letting him slander my son? Do you think the Green family is a joke?" I heard Amelia ask, her arms holding me firmly. Her tone was cold. "I'll ensure a public statement is made, and as for Ethan, the engagement is off." Ethan collapsed, pleading. "What about our child?" She responded with icy detachment, not keeping it, and helped me out of the room, Nicole close behind, driving me back to the familiar private clinic. During my coma, my thoughts kept returning to Ethan. What truly separates genuine kindness from calculated gestures? I recalled an online story about a man who had sponsored a student, only to see the boy decide upon graduation to become a stay-at-home dad. The man's pride had taken a hit, and he was conflicted. Marriage is ultimately a partnership. Love alone isn't enough. It requires balance. And sometimes, what people perceive as shortcuts in life carry a steep cost. I had walked countless mountain trails with my parents, learning patience, endurance, and perspective. The main paths are long, winding, and safe. Shortcuts are tempting, but treacherous. One misstep and you fall. Ethan resented my wealth but also couldn't bear being ordinary. By taking Amelia, he proved to himself that he could win, that he could rise above me. In his mind, he was righteous. Amelia wasn't just his anchor. She was his trophy. Without her, he was nothing. He chose the shortcut. Now, he would face the consequences. When I woke up, Amelia was at my bedside. Her eyes shone, exhaustion replaced by relief and joy. "Liam, you're awake." "Amelia, what are you doing here?" I asked. She pressed my hand to her cheek. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "Can you forgive me?" I pulled my hand away slowly and stared out the window, tears forming. "There's nothing to forgive. That's in the past. You're about to marry Ethan?" "I'm not marrying him," she cut me off. "I see him clearly now. He manipulated me, made me misunderstand you, and spread lies out of jealousy. I won't spend my life with someone like that. You know me best. We should have been together," I murmured, closing my eyes as a single tear ran down my face. She softened. "I'll prove it to you. For now, let's just stay here. I'll be with you the whole time." She turned off her constantly buzzing phone, letting the clinic feel like a safe haven. After a long moment, I managed a small smile. "Okay," I said. Meanwhile, the world outside was shifting. My father, working with several other industry magnates, launched a strategic strike on the Sutton Corporation. Scandals surfaced: tax evasion, construction negligence, and corporate espionage. The Suttons had profited from cutting corners in real estate, causing accidents and even deaths. Their influence had hidden the worst of it, but my father's reputation and connections ensured justice would catch up with them. With their stock plummeting and their reputation in ruins, my father quietly profited from the market. The atmosphere was celebratory at home. When Nicole arrived to tell me it was time to leave, I was building a snowman with Amelia. She was relaxed, playful, and fully present, more than I had seen in weeks. She held 2 small stones. "Just the eyes, and it's done." I smiled but kept my hands to myself. Then, in one swift motion, I kicked the snowman's head off. A mischievous grin spread across my face. "Sorry." "Game over." Amelia froze, lips trembling. "Liam?" I straightened my coat and walked away, leaving her with only my retreating back and Nicole's knowing look. I waved casually over my shoulder. "From now on," I said, "please call me Mr. Green." The Sutton Corporation, though wounded, was far from defeated. My father remained calm. We took a big enough bite. They're no longer a threat. Our goal was to dismantle William Sutton's influence, and that's done. William Sutton, Amelia's father, had once humiliated my family, sabotaging my father, insulting my mother, and publicly trying to degrade us. That vendetta was now settled. Our family philosophy was simple: repay kindness, avenge wrongs. As my father always said, if you repay evil with kindness, what do you repay kindness with? A trusted advisor once explained, when someone harms you, they steal your fortune. Revenge restores balance. If you always submit, your fortune dwindles until anyone can walk all over you. Ethan's role was pivotal. By publicly breaking the engagement, spreading rumors, and manipulating Amelia, he gave us the perfect reason to act. His parents, misled by events, publicly criticized me online. The backlash was immediate and intense. Amelia stepped in, releasing a full statement that clarified everything, from my sponsorship of Ethan to the lies he had spread. Mutual friends confirmed her account, and the internet began investigating. The deeper people dug, the more stories surfaced about my family's charitable work. Public opinion turned sharply in our favor. Our stock soared, while Ethan and his family faced social ruin. Justice, calculated and patient, had been served. The next time I encountered Amelia and Ethan was at a high-profile business gala. The Suttons had been ousted from their own company. Amelia's reputation was in ruins, leaving her with little hope of a comeback. She had begged an old friend for an invitation, just to see me. She looked different. The fire in her eyes had dimmed. Her face was pale and drawn, carrying the weight of defeat. Her gaze met mine, red-rimmed and accusatory. "You were lying to me the whole time." I shook my head gently. "When I said I loved you, I meant it." She froze, lips slightly parted. It had started as a business strategy. But as time passed, my feelings had grown genuine. Watching her start to drift toward Ethan had stung. The betrayal by 2 people I had trusted shook me to the core. I spent a sleepless night in despair before gathering myself and setting a plan into motion. "Liam." Tears welled in her eyes as she reached for my hand. I smiled, stepping back, my gaze landing on Ethan, who stood stiffly behind her, his face twisted in anger and disbelief. "You can't have it all," I said. Ethan snapped. This was all your plan, wasn't it? You're a monster, Liam Green. You'll pay for this. I regarded him calmly. Perhaps. Maybe my fate was sealed the day I saved you. Helping the grateful brings reward. Helping the wicked only invites retribution. I've come to understand that fully. My words silenced him. I leaned closer. Just as a mother cannot accept the child she bore turning a knife on her, I cannot allow my kindness to be repaid with betrayal. Call me condescending, hypocritical, or cruel, but I saved you. I supported you. You returned kindness with treachery. Why would I let that go unchallenged? I patted his shoulder, sending a shiver down his spine. Fear finally touched him. His legs gave out, and he crumpled to the floor. My smile returned, warm and untroubled. Now go earn some money for your baby, and please do stay together. Forever. Amelia's fall from grace drew the vultures. Gossip surrounded her and Ethan. She began drinking heavily, the pressure of her circumstances weighing on her. Then, the unexpected occurred. She married Ethan. The public speculated about true love, but I only smiled. Why had the Suttons, after everything, allowed the engagement? Nicole's investigations revealed the answer. Amelia could not have children, and this was likely her only chance. Ethan, aware of the Suttons' animosity, had initially tried to convince Amelia to terminate the pregnancy and escape with him. But his family intervened, forcing him into the arrangement. This was the second time he had been thrown to the wolves. This time, no one came to save him. Is this karma? I mused. Nicole was quiet for a moment. It was his choice, she said softly, tinged with sadness. My phone buzzed. I relaxed. Nicole, my parents are calling us home for dinner. Dad caught a huge fish. A small warmth spread across her face, melting the usual coolness like sunlight over a snow-covered peak. Okay, she said, a rare softness in her voice.